Hey, welcome. What's up, Bragg45 and Sardo? Notes
What's
for
up, guys?
82.
Yo.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yup.
What's up, McDJ, ACDC, DFS Infinity, and Curtis Schultz? And there's Marcos. Oi!
Wasn't he
So
supposed to be in on this?
he's a busy man, I guess. Yeah, we're going to do we're going to see what we can get through with Autocracy. Last time we did issue 3. So we're going to start with issue 4 tonight. And let's go ahead and fire that up. You want to go ahead and bring that up? If you got any questions in the chat, I'll try to keep up with that. I need some special music. What's up? Oh, what's up, BAP2? Glad to see you in here.
I'm back, guys. I'm gonna...
You got you pull up the comic, Bragg?
Yeah, I just did a share screen. Can you see it?
No.
No.
Well.
Oh, I know why.
Sardo's back.
I'm back. I was just sharing some tender words with my lady friend there. Profit.
Okay.
But now I'm back.
Time to transform.
There you go.
All right. Let me go ahead and get this screen up real nice. You got full screen going? Okay. So let's just get right into it. Comment about the comic and everything. Every time I see this, I think about that Mega Granville toy.
Yeah.
Go ahead and scroll. I'll let you know when to stop, sir. Or Sardo will, one of us. Okay, so basically, what's saying happened is, let's see. Our next issue, Megatron sets up a trap for the Autobots for the purpose of having a face-to-face with Orion Pax. Megatron wants to corrupt from within the Autobot ranks by debriefing Orion Pax on the true nature of Zeta Prime. Meanwhile, unknowingly to Megatron, Orion Pax has set up his own plan to lure the Decepticons into a trap to capture Megatron and his Decepticon entourage. All right, let's go through issue 4, fellas.
That diabolical.
Yeah. So go on. Go ahead. I'm going to let's see. We got a story by Chris Metzen and Flint Deli. Art by Livio Ramondelli. I do apologize if I do mispronounce any of these. Letters by Robbie Robbins. Editors John Barber and Carlos Guzman. Looks like we got 2012, I think, on there.
Yep.
All right. So let's go through the art and the comic, anything that we noticed in there, because I kind of went through a debriefing on what's happening here. I want to comment. What's the dude's name that looks like he has a extent or a
Blackwall is his name.
Plug.
Yeah, this guy's Blackwall.
Blackwall. I've never. Sort of. Have you ever seen that dude anywhere else in these comics?
I honestly can't say I have. At least, see, the thing is with these kind of stories, you have this particular painting art style. So if I saw him in a different style, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, he's kind of neat. Me and Bragg were talking about him one day. I think you looked him up. You're the one that found out what his name was.
Blackwall.
Yeah, he's just a very interesting character to me. Like, I want to know what he changes into.
You didn't find a lot of information about him, did you?
No, unfortunately, his story in IDW is very short.
Okay, hold on a second. Make sure something here. Okay. What's up, Larkins Lair? He stopped in too. Go ahead, Bragg. Sorry, I do apologize if I missed something. I'm going to check the chat randomly. So if you got a question, we will address it. Probably between each comic. All right. So we got all the players in here. We got Astro Train. But they're just talking. Megatron's just telling him, basically, Zeta Prime is corrupt. That's what I get from it, Briag.
Yeah. He's basically trying to convince him to join the Decepticons in some way or another. Just a refresher, he lured them there by capturing Bumblebee. Astro Train and Blitzwing did.
Yeah.
So kind of a forced meeting.
Yeah, this whole time they're setting up their trap. Ironhide's in his ear, coordinate the effort to try to capture the Decepticons while they're meeting. But Zeta Prime is definitely corrupt and twisted. Not a normal Prime by any means. I don't think. Dang it! I don't think Sentinel Prime seemed as corrupt as him. Did he?
I don't think he was near as corrupt. He was just kind of a lapdog for the Senate and was, he was like a war general. Like he was part of the old guard, and he had no problem just warring. I don't think he was necessarily corrupt, or is he just always looking for a fight?
Yeah, I think Sentinel Prime thing was, I think other characters mentioned that he was a Prime only in name. Like he appointed himself as that. External power. No external power ever gained that. At least I believe.
Yeah, military justice is what he went for.
Curtis Schultz asked if we get these for free. No, sir, we do not. We have to pay for these comics. Go ahead, Brad.
So, first table flip of the comics.
Yeah.
normally a Prowl thing, but yeah.
Yeah. Whoever this little guy is went flying.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. It looks like a generic head. You see a lot of him in what is it, Nyan? Seems like there's several of them look like that.
So yep, he takes the shot, calls the Autobots in.
Yeah. Like I said, it's definitely a dark drawing, but I've read it so many times here lately. It's actually not a bad story. I think it introduces well what it's supposed to introduce. Prowl comes in, and Megatron says to Prime, Megatron says to Pax, "Well played, Orion. I underestimated you." Prime says, "You usually do." And that's when they spring the trap.
Yep. Busts him right in the chops.
Oh, get you a little some of that right in the mouth. Yeah. So, the skirmish continues. I like to get, I can't wait till we get to comic with a little more brightness in it, but.
A lot of reds and pinks and just kind of amazing how they airbrush this whole thing so it looks neon. Or like the lights are neon.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like I'm kind of in a dark part of Vegas.
Huh.
Or like something you might see on the side of a van.
Yeah.
Like an airbrush picture.
Yes, there goes Prowl and Hound.
Yeah. I every time I see some of these panels, I notice their alt modes. Like Prowl down there, that looks like a spaceship more to me. And Hound seems to be like some kind of hovering machine,
Yeah, almost looks a little bit like Blur in the past.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Or maybe a Sweep with jetpacks on the back.
Right.
I get the flying taxi from Fifth Element vibe. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a good one. Multipass.
There you go. Please have.
So the fight continues. It's funny when I read these parts, the Skylinks parts, I can hear the G1 Skylinks in my head. It doesn't happen with every character I read, but definitely Prime, definitely Grimlock, and definitely for some reason Skylinks too. Just I don't know. It's just it sounds like arrogant, but when you think about it, it's like they don't sound very arrogant, but it comes off as arrogant.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've got this thing with Bumblebee now. Ever since playing the War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron games, I always hear Johnny Young Bosch now.
Who's Johnny Young Bosch?
He played the Black Ranger in Power Rangers after. Who was the guy that played
Zach? Yeah, I think he left. He's also if you watch anime, he's Ichigo in Bleach.
Yes.
Yeah. in Marvel's Capcom 3, he was Zero for Mega Man X. I know, I'm a nerd.
Yeah. He plays a lot of things. I just can't remember anything he plays except that at the moment.
Mm-hmm. It's got a good voice for more younger, more rasher characters. Like if he did a Hot Rod, they're probably cool.
Doesn't he do a lot of anime now?
Yeah, he's big in anime and video games now. Yeah. Usually that younger hot-headed character.
What he's learned, Orion will do. And he says right here, Megatron, with what he's learned, Orion will do more damage to the Autobot cause than we could have in 100 cycles. I feel like Pax already knows. You know what I mean? I kind of felt like Megatron didn't really tell me anything he hadn't already figured out.
Yeah, it's just kind of more of that pushing Orion to believe what's in front of him instead of him constantly giving Zeta the benefit of the doubt and thinking that maybe stuff will get right. He knows it's corrupt. He knows it's falling apart, but he just doesn't want to admit it.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's got the bad guys telling him it's corrupt instead of the good guys just showing him. You'd think him walking in on the Senate would have been enough.
Yeah. Hold on a second while you guys do that. I got you.
But with Iron Pax now, he still he still believes, he still kind of that law man. He believes in right. He believes in right and right was right, was wrong was wrong. He wants to believe that at the end of the day, things will work out.
Yeah, he kind of thinks his current station of being a cop, he can actually fix things.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's a pretty good reality for, officers that are stand up and want to do good and have justice. They're fighting a big fight.
Yeah. It ends up being kind of like Batman. It's like a situation where you keep doing a good thing, even though really you can't fix anything. You just keep trying.
Yeah. Yep. Just keep the teeter-totter in balance is all you can do.
Yep.
Sorry about that. I had to check some things to see how it looked. I have to move. I have to toggle my screen from full to not to minimize to check chat. So I wanted to make sure it was not showing while you do that. So thank you very much. All right. So yeah, basically, like I said, that's what this issue is basically about. We're going to keep giving that synopsis right before and then touching base on anything we may have missed or seen that was unique in the comic. But definitely people can pause it later or now and read the little clips. Some will read, some we won't. So, even though he knew, I guess maybe he went back with a little more zest, put a little more taste upon his words to Zeta, maybe.
Yeah. It was funny because, Megatron calls it completely. He says that Nyan is next, and Ryan doesn't believe Nyan is next. But then where does Zeta send him? Go to Nyan.
Yeah. Nyan is like the place that's just like run down and I guess just don't really give a fuck about, maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kind of the place maybe that's turned into like a ghetto or something, and he's going to make an example of it by just clearing it out. Get rid of the useless, homeless, whatever, and turn him into something more useful for his cause.
It's Detroit.
Nice.
Swish.
I'm just saying, because Cybertron's a planet. So like any planet, is huge. So it must have different spots on it that, I guess this place is so bad. I mean, I'm saying Detroit, any state or country, you name it, that's had a better reputation is probably what it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
So telling him go after Hot Rod, who's in Nyan.
Yeah. Go ahead and I don't have any questions in the chat or anything I think I need to address, so we might just stay transformed here.
Okay.
Curtis Schultz. Here you go, Sardo.
What Detroit?
I know why he's saying that. I don't want to give it up though.
I'm now. If you are from Detroit, many apologies. I tell you what, if you're from Detroit, Florida, there you go. Just name some other state. That gets a bad rep.
We will amend that to Florida. Oh, okay. So let me go on here. All right.
Nope.
Whoa.
Keep
Whoop.
forgetting if my mouse is off to the side, it doesn't scroll, it turns the page.
All right. So issue 5. Issue 5, we got Zeta Prime has issued Orion Pax on a mission to capture the insurgent. Hold on a second. To capture an insurgent who ambushed the counter-terror strike team, led by Orion Pax in issue 1. The insurgent is identified as Hot Rod. Hot Rod knows the counter-terror strike team is locked and loaded and heading his way to capture him. Hot Rod leads. Damn it. Okay. I'd have to edit a lot of this out if this wasn't live, so my bad. Oh. Hot Rod leads to Autobot counter-terror strike team to... Man, hold on a second. Oh, okay. Let me read that again. I'm sorry. It'll get better. I just changed the format today. I'll get it right. Hot Rod leads to Autobot counter-terror strike team to Acropolis, one of the capitals of ancient Cybertron. There, Hot Rod will reveal truth about the past and the vessel that contains the wisdom for the true leadership. Looks like we have still story by Chris Metzen and Flint Dilley, art by Livio Romandelli, letters by Robbie Robbins, editors by John Barber and Carlos Guzman. I'm trying to read that. Does that say 2012 still?
2012.
Okay. Yeah, I do apologize for reading that. I need to learn how to read my own handwriting, I guess. Danger. All right, here. Let's see.
So a little more color in this issue.
Yeah, it looks like
starting right off.
Like we're above ground, or I'm gonna ask that. Day versus night on Cybertron.
So I don't recall Cybertron orbiting a star, and if it does, I believe the star is far off, kind of like if Jupiter was orbiting the sun. I think the light on the left is actually coming from a larger city, possibly, and you've got the night on the right, or at least this is the standard sky on the right.
Because doesn't it have night and daytime aspects?
I think so, but thinking about the comics and then thinking about like the cartoons and stuff, I actually can't remember a time on Cybertron where it was just daytime, and maybe not illuminated by lights.
I can't either. It gives me a call back to that Cliff Jumper special where that girl asked him, "Do you not feel hot and cold?" He said, "Yeah, we do. Just not the way you do. It's organics."
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like maybe it's just constantly night. But I agree, actually. Maybe some cities just have really bright lights.
I know later on there's definitely more comics that happen specifically on Cybertron for a good amount of time. So that'll have to be something we remember. See if we can capture maybe a glimpse of like whatever they might call daytime.
I feel like I've seen some sort of media where it was full light on Cybertron. So I'm curious about that.
What about Transformers Prime during the Beast saga with the dragons and stuff?
Yep, there was definitely light. Prime was in my head, but I couldn't remember time. You're right. So that instance, yes.
There's daylight. Okay.
So, all right. Let's see what we got going on here. They're kind of just directing how they're going to. I think they're heading into Acropolis. Like that's an old. Did they say that's an old town from the ancients? Go back a little bit if you would. Like right at the beginning. Yeah, right here. Intel says our target's taken refuge in the ruins of the old Acropolis. Legends say it was one of the capitals of ancient Cybertron. Been abandoned a long time. No telling what we'll find in there. So. Definitely. I noticed the references to any ancient Cybertronian type things. That kind of interests me, especially when later on in the comics we know that the Knights of Cybertron and all that come into play really heavy.
Yeah, and when I see Acropolex, I immediately think of the name of a Titan itself, like maybe it was a Titan city. And then I'm sitting here looking at this giant, maybe a giant red gun in the top right up here.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of wonder if Acropolex might have been one of the old dead Titans.
I can see that. That's a good point. Never thought about that.
Because I know back then they had a ton of Titans that were the cities.
Yeah. So this is a section where Hot Rod, he's luring them into something that we will find out soon. You know, Autobots, I've been waiting for you. You got, what's I say? You got guts coming here. I'll give you that. I need to do something with my contrast. There we go. And he says, Hot Rod says, no, let's see if you can keep up. Ironhide, keep up with this, punk. Yeah, so they're gonna go down. They're gonna chase him.
And see, then you wonder where all this light's coming from. They're inside of a building. Maybe it's got windows or something, but what's illuminating all this? Or is it gold?
Look, it looks like sunlight coming through a window or something.
Yeah.
Kind of cathedral-esque.
I was trying to identify some of those statues. Do you guys have full? I haven't got to phase 2. I'm waiting closer to when that time's appropriate. I've read some here and there, excerpts, but do any of those statues look?
They don't look familiar to me, but I think as they say it here, Knights of Cybertron, I think it's just supposed to represent a bunch of the Knights of Cybertron, and they kind of gave them, well, I don't know, they're kind of basic, rounded, and not super detailed. So I don't know if they're more just representation of knights or if they're specific characters, because they definitely don't look like Day Atlas or anything, or Die Atlas, however you pronounce his name.
DFS says, pretty sure Cybertron has no day. Wonder if it orbits a sun. We just talked about that, so it definitely depends on which continuity you're reading for sure.
Yeah, big Autobot logo on the ground. So to think that Acropolex was ancient and it has the Autobot logo on the ground definitely lets you know that Autobots went back a long time for whatever they called their race.
We got a question here. Marcos from M3 Review says, do we think the Knights of Cybertron transformed?
Oh, I'm sure it is. I mean, it's kind of a thing.
Yeah, I think they did. I don't remember recalling anything about the Knights of Cybertron actually being part of the, what do they call it? The monoformer movement, the MFM or something like that. Is basically a group of Transformers that get rid of all their kibble and take their transformation cog out as a stand against functionism, because, you know, in this particular time, your job was based on whatever function you did. So if they take away their function or their alt mode, you don't have a function.
Correct.
Which essentially makes them cannon fodder to be melted down into something better.
Yeah.
But I do believe the Knights of Cybertron transformed. I know later on the later Knights, the Knights led by Day Atlas, he transforms. So I'm assuming they do.
Yeah, looking back at them, they all, if we're going to that Day Atlas and those guys, they all mostly transform into futuristic aircraft. Usually, most of them.
Yeah, they had just kind of this basic, well, not basic, but this particular jet mode, like this styling.
Kind of like I hate to get ahead of things. Guy named Wing, kind of that.
No,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Angular. Kind of angular.
Sardo, Briad, go ahead and touch on things like that. I like to I like to sprinkle in some more stuff. It always piques curiosity for this company's comics. So yeah, go ahead. I think it's good that we talk about some other stuff and relate it.
Yeah. So coming up, it's going to be a few comics, but as they introduce the character Drift, we find out that he gets kind of rebuilt by the Knights of Cybertron, or at least a group of them that are upholding the name, Wing being his mentor. And they've got ground vehicle modes, but they look like ground vehicles with a little bit of like fins and stuff. So they kind of still have like a jet focus.
Mm-hmm. And I always kind of figure it's kind of part with the Knights turn. At least in my own head canon, they probably had this kind of almost.
Yeah, and I kind of wonder, probably like how when they got to the G1 Transformers Victory and Zone, when they actually showed Star Saber and Day Atlas, those were very Gundam-esque type of robots and vehicle modes. And I feel like that's kind of the inspiration of the Knights of Cybertron, is kind of a Gundam looking robot.
I have to see that, because even when Star Saber transforms, you can see where everything goes. It's very kind of rudimentary. How the legs go to the H shape. Yeah. Go up into the hands. I'm like, okay, I just saw how you did that versus how Prime tucks his body in. You know what I mean? I can't quite see how he did all that.
Yeah, not super complicated. More like get small and let's get moving.
Yeah.
Okay, so they bust in.
Yeah, and here, this is the real interesting stuff here. What is this? Some kind of shrine? Are you guys seeing this? Is that what I think it is? The symbol of the Matrix. I think this is all pretty important. Certain parts of it I'm going to read for sure, and other ones we're just going to bullshit or just summarize. But just more superstitious mumbo jumbo. The Knights of Cybertron vowed to protect the Matrix forever. It represented hope and peace in the ancient times. Now some bots scarcely believe it's real. The Primes have carried this matrix within them for 1,000 generations. Of course it's real. Oh, come on, Prowl. The Matrix bearer thing's just propaganda to keep the common bots in line. You've met Zeta. He struck you as being powered by the source of all life and hope. And it's when Pax. It's Pax right now, damn it. Get it right. Right. But anyway, so definitely need to talk about that just a second. Go ahead.
Kind of funny. You look at the interaction between Prowl and Ironhide, and in this particular IDW line, a little later on, they actually reverse their roles in this, whereas Ironhide is more faithful / superstitious / whatever you want to place a word on religion in this sense, and Prowl becomes the skeptic and no faith and all science and numbers. Like the math has got to add up.
Yeah, I think it's important too, even if we talk about what they do in the future, because I think we should talk about Prowl right here, because Prowl is a very pivotal piece to the IDW story.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we can forget, like if we decide not to talk about him until he really starts developing, then we're not going to reference what we did now. So now we can reference kind of how he is to how we know he's going to be later. Later on, he seems to be a bit more smarter than what he's coming across right here to me. When I read that, so I'm glad you pointed on this. Otherwise, I forgot about it. Yeah. Because what's your take on Prowl, Sardo?
Well, I think about Prowl, especially where I know where he's going. I kind of view him. I mean, I'm wrong. I kind of view him like how I put this, a full measure kind of guy. Like right now, he's probably talking to Ironhide. He's probably taking note of everything he's saying. He's storing everything he learned from Ironhide in a little box that one day he can pull out of his ass if he needs it. And I figured the same way with Orion Pax, same way with if you mix Hot Rod or Megatron. Everything he learns about someone, I feel like he puts in a little box for further use. I don't want to spoil too much about Prowl, but he's definitely someone to keep your eye on because what you're seeing here is just him kind of. I feel like he's kind of dumbing himself down for these guys. he's much smarter than this. He's much smarter than this, or at least Prowl thinks he is. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, and he's always been like one of the smarter bots, even from G1, and he's always been the strategist. Mm-hmm. That's how they kind of portrayed him in his stats. But later on, he gets like ultra, like hardcore, logical, like give Shockwave a run for his money, logical.
Right. Oh yeah, he's one of those guys where it's like, it's like this. Sometimes you if everybody doesn't know, in the future you're gonna look at him and say, "Are you an Autobot? I mean, really, are you a good guy?"
Yeah, he gets real cynical. Not even Shockwave is cynical. He's just logical.
Logical, yeah.
Keep talking, keep going. But what's up, TF Fan Page 101? I like to acknowledge people when they come in. But I've been thinking about that a lot. I think it's very important that we discuss where some of these characters do head, because by the time we get to them, we ain't going to remember these little areas that we talked about 55, 60 fucking episodes or comics ago. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So keep anything that you may have a reference on. If it's a big time spoiler, maybe just kind of put it out there and we'll pause a few and people can make it up themselves. Because it actually isn't going to hurt me much either, because I actually like knowing some a little bit. So I still always say that this IDW, this whole run, it almost is like a Megatron story to me.
Yeah, I think so. Low key, it kind of is. I mean, he's the hero and villain of the whole thing. I mean,
yeah. Did I see Laserbeak back there? Is that to come?
Yeah. He's checking him out, just watching what's going on, and Megatron and Starscream are bantering and watching.
Yeah, for some reason, man, fucking Laserbeak's my boy. I see him or Rumble, I'm like, them little bastards will give it to you, man.
Just like X.
Yeah. So we can obviously see what Hot Rod is doing. He led them through that area for the purpose of that reason. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And we also know another thing that I decided today, I'm like, it just needs to be this way. This is our first introduction of Hot Rod into the comics. And we know that he becomes a big player phase 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important that we kind of acknowledge some of the character developments on the way, how they act now as opposed to maybe what they do later, because that might lead to an error or just a really good plot or really good character development. So yes, anything you guys see of Hot Rod here that you think, you relate that, please do it.
Okay.
So here we've got a bunch of, I guess it's volatile energon. It looks like they've basically drained and stored as much energon here as possible. You see all these people just sitting around, and he talks about it a little bit here. Hot Rod does, about these people that are just sitting here trying to get as many drops of it as they can if there's ever any that leaks out, or kind of just whatever they can do to stay alive. This is all that's left of Nion.
Later, Marcos. Hold on a second. TF Fan Page says, I'm not super knowledgeable on the comics, honestly. To be honest with you, it's not that it's my channel when I'm saying this. If you really want to learn about the comics, this is good stuff. We're reviewing the 2005 to 2018 stuff. There's no better people to discuss that with than Briag 45 and Sardo. They're very knowledgeable.
Especially Briag. Briag's a man. I mean, he does way more than me.
Yeah, so
I claim nothing.
He's being modest.
Wait a minute. What did Pake coin you? What is that term? What was it?
Pake?
Yeah.
Nothing. He didn't say nothing.
Say it.
I don't even remember.
Oh, you lying. All right, lies in the stream. Okay.
That's what it stands for, right? 3 live stream.
No, sir. Fake media, no. So
Fake news.
might
It's
have to,
fake news.
yeah, might have to flesh this out a little bit. Let's see.
So yeah, Hot Rod reveals himself, exposes himself. You know, no guns, nothing. He's basically surrendering and giving Orion the chance to really look at things here.
He does see he's out there with the people, and he's for the people, and he's trying to protect them. And definitely an area that has been forgotten about, just treated, you know, nobody cares about the civilians in this area.
Yeah.
So I feel like he did take up a good leadership for them, the people in Acropolis and Nyon. Did he just lead them to Acropolis, or is that a part of Nyon? Are they two separate places?
Well, I think Acropolis is the center of like the Nyon area. I think Nyon's just kind of an area, whereas Acropolis is the capital.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong on that.
I think the only geographical references we received here off the top of my head would be where the Citadel is. I don't even know what they say. Iacon later, Nyon, Acropolis.
Or maybe I jumped ahead because Zeta sent them after Hot Rod. I know Hot Rod's from Nyon. Maybe I made an assumption that that's where they headed, but they actually headed to Acropolis first.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's like this full title. I mean, like everyone's name is usually like where they're from, like Hot Rod of Ion. You know, so I think he's from Ion. How you say it? I think he's from there.
So you got a bunch of beat up bots.
Yeah, this is just a bunch of Cybertronians on their last leg. But it's definitely a depressing and eye-opening sight to see what's going on here.
Yeah, I think maybe they went to Acropolis because Hot Rod's trying to show Orion what's going to happen to all of them. So maybe they're not actually at Nyon yet.
Okay.
So yeah, they're still having their back and forth about basically convincing, and he's telling Prime, you know, I don't think you're like the Prime.
King of Lore. That's your fucking name. King of Lore. Some bitch, you remembered.
Bullshit.
All right. Roll on unless you got something else here.
No. So basically they're looking out and they're seeing the Omega Destructors, which is basically the Omega Sentinels equipped with the Vampart ribbon, which is that Energon gun that Zeta had that sucks the Energon out of things and then re-blasts it out as a giant wave of just energy. So the weapon itself does two things. It drains energy and then blows things up with that energy.
Yeah, it's definitely a weapon that is it's a weapon that's hard to beat, and we will find out about that a little bit later.
Yep.
T fan page. Hot Rod is definitely boxy. I do believe most everybody in this series is pretty boxy. Okay.
Yeah, the artist is definitely a boxy artist, and like even his shoulder pauldrons here, like yeah, they're round, but everything's just kind of a loose drawing. So like his whole stature is just a giant rectangle.
Okay. Well, it looks like we're probably going to do issue 6 before we take a break and start the other live stream. There will be a second live stream tonight, everybody. We'll see how far we can get. There's 12 issues in this in Autocracy. This will start the 6th one. We'll see where it goes. But issue 6, Zeta Prime has released the Omega Destructors, massive enforcer units employed by the government for Zeta Prime. They had a main single purpose. That purpose is to annihilate any resistance to the Autobot regime. Hot Rod and the counter-terror strike team led by Orion Pax scramble to defend civilization against Zeta Prime's Omega Destructors in the Zampark ribbon. We have the same people, but I'm always going to read them and give the credit that they deserve. Stories by Chris Metzen and Flint Dilley. art by Livio Romandelli, letters by Robbie Robbins, editors John Barber and Carlos Guzman. And does it give the month down there?
2012. Transformers Autocracy related Hasbro use 2012. Am I missing it?
I still can't see it. It's a small print.
Yeah.
Not sure of the month, but it just says 2012 here.
Okay.
So not real sure.
All right.
But I'm just sitting here reading the previously, and at the bottom it says draining the energy of the civilian population in Nyon. So we were watching them destroy Nyon. So I think that Citadel was Acropolis located somewhere in or around Nyon.
Okay. All right. That's like we got okay. Yeah, because we got about 25 before the next one starts.
Yeah.
I can move it a little bit. The next one might be a little bit longer. We might see about trying to close us out tonight. So we'll see how it goes. But we like to run our mouth a little bit, so sometimes that stops it. So yeah, you can
old
see
butterfly wings and his old Omega Destructors.
Yeah, he definitely brings with him some annihilating power. I mean, Zeta Prime is a formidable foe. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I guarantee you, he turns into a bigger gun.
Yeah.
His alt mode is just a bigger gun. It has to be.
What's up? The hunt continues, and we got a question. Baptu says, didn't Orion get rebuilt in the IDW? And the answer to that would be several times.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. You're getting ready to see maybe the third rebuilding coming up.
Yeah. He's already been rebuilt a couple times. You're definitely right, Baptu.
Let's see.
Right. So I may have to adjust the time on the next. I think it's more. I try to make a time frame, but sometimes you can't dictate what you need to do. Some of this to get fleshed out. So let's see where we got.
So yeah, here he is draining people's energy. And you got to wonder about this weapon. Like, what's protecting him from being drained? Because from what I understood about this weapon, like it sucks in the energon all around. So he's got to be wearing some sort of safety harness or something.
Good call. We'll be getting to that. That is definitely pitiable. It's definitely coming up, that topic. Good thing. When you said, I'm like, oh, I know he's going at, and it's a good point. All right, so
here they are witnessing the destruction. So yeah, they'll all die among the ruins. So Acropolis is some ruins inside of Nyon.
Okay. Here's another geographical place on Cybertron that they reference, Kokolar. Right now, it's the Decepticon headquarters. That will change.
Okay, back to Nyon.
Basically, Zeta is coming to, if I'm understanding this correctly, Zeta is coming to get all the energon from Nyon.
Yep.
Anything that has energy, and that's people. He has no problem draining the life force from any of the civilians. Go ahead, Sardo.
Oh no, I'm just saying he's just because it's just a very poor ghetto. No one's gonna miss these people. It doesn't nothing but power source.
Makes you wonder if he purposely stored all that volatile energon right there in Acropolis to be used for this actual moment.
Ah.
I don't think they really ever touch on why that energon's there. Maybe it's just a store, but it'd be one big bomb for those Omega Destructors to use.
Mm-hmm.
Right. God, I love that art. I just love how it looks like somebody took spray paint and finger painted all this together.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Kind of does, yeah. I can see it. Or someone that took all red.
Yeah.
Then took streaks of white to make everything else.
Yeah, this issue here is really building up to, I really believe, some stuff that really shapes the character and things to come for Hot Rod.
Yeah,
from what happens in this.
So they steps on some like stasis bomb type things that's meant to basically disable him. what he's wearing here, I think that might be the safety harness for the Vampark weapons. I don't know. I see that on all their chests, so I don't know if that's actually it or what.
Ooh, good call. Yeah, like those Omega Destructors. I mean, the Autobots they're not equipped to beat those things. So, I mean, when you see this coming, how the hell are they going to win? So we're going to find out.
Yeah, just think of Omega Supreme, except he's got all the power to take down the Decepticons.
Yeah.
Or he's just a Decepticon. I don't know, whatever you want to call him. He does not hold back his power.
Yeah, it said they're all equipped with the ribbons too, the Vampark technology weaponry. So I don't believe Omega Supreme had that either.
No.
So,
no, but if he did and he was a bad guy, jeez.
Yeah.
So they all blasted him while he was down. Didn't even scratch it, as we would expect from a Omega.
Not even a scratch.
Didn't even bend a fender.
There we go.
So, okay. So I kind of Bumblebee what he's saying here, because you really got to start you really got to get the setting down for what's getting ready to happen. Bumblebee says, those civilians don't stand a chance. What's the plan, Orion? What are your orders? Fall back, Ironhide. What? There's nothing more we can do here. Let's just hope we bought Hot Rod enough time. That's what I'm saying too. We're just talking about the strength that Zeta poses, and Pax doesn't pull out of anything easy. We've seen him get nasty before this. You know what I mean? He has no problem throwing down and beating your ass and figuring out ways to win. He's a very strong and strategic. So for him to say we got to pull out, it's really putting this in perspective.
Yeah, cut your losses. I mean, you can't do anything if you did.
Right.
Yep. So, I mean, look, there's like 3 of those Omega Destructors back there that you can even see.
Yeah, and they're all marching right the fuck for them. And like Hot Rod says, yeah, I wired the whole city with phase charges a few cycles ago. I can detonate at any time, but just never thought it would come to that. So, better that our people die at our hands than be drained to serve Zeta's war machine. Is that a civilian he's talking to? That's that typical head we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, it's a basic bot civilian.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I actually forgot about this. Yeah. I mean, it's sad, but yeah, these people are going to die no matter what. So if he has a different choice to make. Do I let them die? Let them die, just be drained slowly, or just die in an instant? Right. I think he chose the better purpose here.
But think about having to make that choice, Sardo. I mean,
oh yeah. Oh, this had repercussions. If I remember right, this gets brought back up again later on.
So this is another facet of the war that just tears mentalities apart and changes you as a person. You guarantee this is going to change Hot Rod. You know what I mean? Like he says, I don't think I can. Primus, forgive me, and he does, and he blows his place fucking sky high.
Yeah. Just his mannerisms in this, you can tell he's got those prime tendencies that they always want to lead you to Hot Rod / Rodimus.
Yeah. Like I said, yeah, it's sad. I mean, I believe when I read anything, I really want to try to feel the emotion and try to feel it. So it's better to try to get the most that you can, the most possible out of the story you're reading.
Something I do want to know, though, where did he get all those phase chargers? I mean, look how big Nyon is. That's a lot of phase chargers. And look, these guys are going down. Now, granted, you take out all the energy, their weapons are useless, but it took them down. So where did he get all those?
Well, you got to remember, too, for Cybertronians, 1,000 years is probably like what for them, like 5 years, something like that.
Yeah.
So, it's been really took him thousands of years. I remember just getting to bring up the future.
Yeah, and I forget how long a cycle is, but it's
what I wanted to bring up was it's a time point in comics where Megatron and Prime have to sit down, and they were just talking, and they said, sometimes we go 100 years without even firing a shot.
Yep.
We just be preparing for one day. So it's like,
Yep.
so I'm thinking to myself, maybe hot rod really took 200-300 years. Like, it took a while, but to them it's like 300 years. Oh man, that's like 3 days.
Sometimes I wonder when they actually go down to recharge or go into like the AR chamber or whatever, like if they're actually in there for like a couple months.
Oh yeah, when they go to the recharge table or stasis. Yeah, good question. Good question, man. Is it one day? Is it 24? It's only hours. Yeah, you're right. What is a cycle?
I've got a book that actually says it kind of like exactly how it translates, and of course that book was written during Dreamwave, so they could have changed the definition by now. But I feel like a cycle was something like a couple of days. Could be way off. I don't remember exactly, but I do know that they broke it down like they had like what they called their seconds, what they had their cycles, and shoot, I don't remember. I'd have to go find the book.
But very interesting though, nonetheless.
So let's see. They blew up the city. So yep.
I address the chat.
Yeah, and they're going to get out of there, and Zeta finds them.
Yeah, and he's pissed. I mean, he's pissed. He knows what they did, and that hurts his efforts a little bit.
Yep.
You can't beat the guy that is so strong like this. You have to chip. You got to chip. You know what I mean? You're like, why did you throw that punch? You knew it wasn't going to do anything. Why did you do that maneuver? Every little thing when you're up against an opponent like that, it takes eventually, if you can keep at it, it'll eventually get there.
I wonder if they did this on purpose, but looking at Zeta's character, he's actually modeled after Unicron in several ways.
You see
that? The horns, the wings.
Horns, wings, the overall statue, the shoulder pauldrons, just kind of all, I don't know. Kind of, maybe it's just supposed to be more of an evil stature.
Definitely not very Autobody.
Yep.
Autobody? Did you say Autobody, buddy?
No, I think my side parts like that. That's not very Christmassy. That's not very Autobody.
Actually, Sardo, since you've read most of the comics, this helmet is ancient Cybertronian.
So it's not. So that's not actually part. It's not actually part of his body. It's actually
no, it's not actually. There is one comic that we'll come across later on that does a flashback.
Oh yeah, you're right. I mean,
when they're rebuilt.
What
we actually touched on it, Pack, whenever we did the roll forward, and it had like shadow play, I think.
Yeah. I think it was shadow play. Yeah, him and Ryan meet again.
Yeah, there was a comic issue that every other page was in the future and then in the past. And we did a sit down on it just before we started Autocracy. But I think at the end of it, if I remember correctly, it shows you what Zeta looked like before he put all this armor on, because all that armor's not him.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, he's kind of he's like white and blue, and he looked almost like Orion Pax's friend from G1. His name Dion. Yeah,
Dion.
Yeah, he kind of favored him, and I think that's one thing about Autocracy. This and Shadowplay are all important before you get to what's it called, Dark Cybertron. Like if you don't read this stuff, you're confused.
Yeah, because that's when they produced all these comics. They went ahead and went back and touched on more aspects of the war because they had a huge gap they could fill in.
And this is it. Yep.
Yeah.
So they're having their showdown. The Vampire weapon.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. All right. Time to transform. I'll go ahead and cut this. Yep. We're going to, so we got a couple minutes I have the other stream set up on my channel. It's going to begin at 8:45 Central Standard Time. That's about, let's see, 11 minutes from now. And that one could be a little bit longer because if the guys feel like it tonight, we will finish the series up tonight and get on to other things.
Oh, yeah, keep on, man. I'm down.
Down.
No, yeah, I'm down.
Down. How about the King of Lore?
Yeah. Yeah, just
Fuck you. He's like, I'm like King of Lore. He's like, yes, my disciples. Yes.
Well, I'm sorry. When I hear King of Lore, I think about Pee-wee's Playhouse, the King of Cartoons. Like, as soon as it come out and blow a trumpet before this man comes in.
I would love to talk about the things that we really love from this episode, but we might not be able to get the break in between that we want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We could probably do some. Hold on, let me get rid of that for just a second. Blink.
Montpellier.
I removed his share screen and it removed him. Dude, jump back in. Well, with that being said, we'll see if he pops back in. Hold on a second.
Okay.
But I'm glad that we did that. I want to be discussing more of the whole thing while we're doing it. Like I said, who can remember everything that you read? Like you go through this section where you read stuff, and you're like, a year ago I read this. I don't remember any of that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, there's always something a little lost. But the thing about it is, if you find it interesting, the more you're engaged, and you might actually go back and if you don't read it again, you might go back and skim through it again because it was just that interesting.
All right. Well, with that being said, we're going to cut off Transformers IDW Autocracy Part 2. Look for Part 3. We'll be coming back soon in a few minutes. If you're watching this later, check out my channel, my playlist. I got all of them set up in a playlist, so one after another. And we will see you in a little bit. The inevitable end